hero Ponyville wanted.
Because you suck.
Indeed. Now, this segment is about something a little bit different. The top 5 things we love to hate as part of the fandom. Now, what will be number 1, obviously? Is it the shitposting? Is it the horrible voice acting? Is it the unwarranted self-importance? Is it all of the above? So then, what would be number 5, you ask? Well, number 5 is up for you to decide. Because quite frankly, we here at Radio Pony don't really give a damn. The shitposting. Obviously, there's going to be things that show up that are questionable, or they're going to be just plain wrong to your sense of view. Number 1 being Alicorn.
Oh, God.
Why do we hate Alicorns? Oh, come on, just bear with me here. Why do we hate Alicorns? Is it because of Trixie? Obviously not. Because Trixie was just fine. Is it because of, oh, I don't know, Princess Celestia? Tyrant Celestia? No. That's not a bad thing in its own. That was simply amusing. Is it because of Twilight Sparkle? More than likely the answer is yes. Why do we hate Alicorns?
Actually, if you want my take on it, it's not so much that Twilight became a princess, it was how she became a princess.
You mean the horrible reasoning for that occurring?
Exactly. Both Alicorn and Princess. I mean, it
the whole of that season. No.
It was anticlimactic?
Yes. I was going to say the whole of the season was simply nothing more than a coming-of-age story. When in fact, it seemed to jump around from character to character without any real, what's the word, direction. Yes, up until the final episode.
I think it could be best summed up by George Takei in a video clip from another bit.
And that would be?
Long gone is any sense of heroism, camaraderie, or epic battle.
Indeed. Precisely. There were very few of those 3. The camaraderie didn't really exist so much as it was to further the plot of that one single story. If you'll notice, seasons 1 and 2 had a great deal of camaraderie. It had a great deal of heroism. Although heroism can be defined by many terms, it is mostly defined as a courageous action or a series of events. Did these occur in Season 3? Not quite.
Nope.
The final episode was not necessarily courageous, but it was fortuitous. Was it known previously? Yes. Celestia and Luna made a mention. In Season 2, is she ready? Well, ready for what, precisely? Could you have been any more cryptic? I'm looking at you, show writers. Could you have been any more cryptic?
You mean Megan McCarthy?
Yes.
Fat bitch.
That on its own was not bad. If you take the show, and you only watch Season 3 final episode, you would say that it's a coming-of-age story. Yet, there's a number of plot holes, and not the kinds that we like. There are too many plot holes in this one scenario. Princess Twilight Sparkle. Yeah, okay, that would be understood for one reason alone. She had worked up to it. However, how did she work up to it? She created new magic, but it's only featured in that one episode.
Right.
Just that one. And all of a sudden, she's a princess? Yeah, plot holes abound. Now, the rest of the Season 3 is punctuated by individual segments, individual shows. What do you have to say?
So far...
Not very much.
No.
Okay. On their own, quite good. But as a whole of a season, not so great. In what sequence of events show writers, you've either lost your touch, or you didn't really have it to begin with.
No, they've lost their touch. Like whenever you screw up in Silent Scope.
Yes, indeed. Because every time you screw up, it makes things impassable. Looking from the whole of Season 1 to Season 3, what have they not done? They have had they've had no recurring villains. Trixie being the only exception to that, and just barely an exception. Because in the first one, obviously, she was quite a threat. Later, when she returned, she was, well, boss material, but not exactly reticent. Still looking at you, show writers. Come on. Is that the best that you could put out?
Again, Megan McCarthy.
Again, if this is pandering, that's not very good pandering. If you're looking to pander, the first thing that you're looking for is a storyline that you can stick with, or a recurring villain who isn't that bad, but can still be quite nasty whenever it wants to be.
That's the problem, though. These days, be it My Little Pony, the New Pound Puppies, pretty much anything fuzzy and warm that Hasbro put out from the 80s isn't so much about plot, but is about finding yourself. So, since Friendship is Magic has no recurring antagonist and therefore no real plot, Twilight Sparkle and Friends just pretty much do stuff for 30 minutes an episode.
As a very good comparison, let's look at Star Trek The Next Generation. They didn't have wholly recurring villains. They had several recurring, but were either an ally to begin with and then an enemy at the end, or an enemy to begin with and then an ally at the end.
Cute.
This is not the way that you go through a show. Now, if you want an original comparison, let's look at the very original Battlestar Galactica, where you had humans and Cylons. There were very little differences between the two, except one was a living, and the other was a machine. Now that makes for a very good recurring villain synopsis. However, you try to apply it to even a kid's show these days, you don't have something that pressures the heroes into truly discovering themselves. Okay,
exactly.
You have Season 3, final episode. What's pressuring the heroes? Or in this case, the hero, when they're all supposed to be heroes.
Instead of mastering herself, she merely mastered the challenge. Big fucking
yes.
deal.
She mastered a single challenge, whereas other challenges have been mastered or waylaid. You have not been completely disingenuous to the show. Again, recurring villains, not a problem. Many other shows have done it. They've done it exceptionally well. Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5, Star Trek, DS9, and the original series all did it quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Any number of shows. But in this one, the shark was jumped far too early. This case, in particular, is quite a sticking point. You have an entire season devoted to single, paired, or trio character plot growth episodes. In effect, you've turned Season 3 into a MacGuffin for the final episode. And there are no links to it, except for, in Season 2, Princesses Luna and Celestia questioning whether or not she is ready for whatever this may be.